Okay, let's really get into this. Picture this. It's 499 CE in Pataliputra. A young mind, Aryabhata, just 23 years old, is looking up at this incredible expanse of stars and starting to sketch what he sees.
Yeah.
Think about that challenge for a moment. How do you even begin to make sense of something that feels so limitless, so, well, beyond human grasp?
It's a fundamental problem, isn't it? Moving from just dots of light to
Yeah,
an actual system.
exactly. And what really gets me is that his way of seeing the cosmos, those early maps, they have this kind of unbroken line straight to technology we rely on constantly today. NASA's star charts, the GPS on your phone right now in 2025. It's wild.
It really is. That act of observation, it posed this huge intellectual puzzle. Aryabhata's work wasn't just what he saw, it was creating the mental framework, the map, to actually explain it.
Right, and that's where we're diving in today. We're plunging into Aryabhata's Golapada. Think of it as his 3D model, his kind of blueprint for the cosmos. If you remember our last deep dive on his Calculable, where we got into timekeeping, planet cycles, all those calculations.
Yeah, the timing mechanisms.
The Golapada takes that and builds this incredible spatial picture. And here's a key thing. In his model, the Earth is actually spinning, and the heavens aren't random, they align predictably.
And that's the crucial link, isn't it? The Calculable gave him the mathematical tools, the cycles, the trigonometry, the science stuff we talked about.
Right.
The Golapada is where he uses those tools to build, well, a physical model of the universe as he saw it. It's like going from understanding clock gears to understanding the whole clock design and the space it takes up.
So what's actually in this Golapada? It's 50 verses, just 50.
Pretty concise.
Yeah. And in these verses, he lays out this whole idea of a celestial sphere, a 3D map of the heavens. Now, let's set the scene a bit. 499 CE, Gupta Golden Age. Pataliputra is this buzzing city, trade, power.
A real hub.
Definitely. And Ujjain is becoming this key center for astronomy, building on older traditions. And then there's Nalanda University, this amazing intellectual melting pot.
A fertile ground for ideas.
Exactly. The Golapada pops up right in the middle of all that, drawing on those ideas we've discussed, cycles, math, orbits, and weaving them into this new spatial understanding.
Which really highlights the environment needed for this kind of thinking, doesn't it? The Gupta era, it was flourishing culturally, intellectually.
Yeah.
There was patronage, inquiry. Aryabhata wasn't working in a vacuum. He was part of this bigger conversation, building on what came before, but also taking a huge leap.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to really unpack that vision. We want to explore the Golapada's core ideas, this spinning Earth concept, the math behind eclipses, the idea of celestial grids for mapping stars.
And crucially,
Connect it all to modern tech in 2025. NASA probes, GPS, VR. Are you ready to map the cosmos with us, Aryabhata style?
let's do it. And it's worth just stressing that background again. 499 CE, the Gupta Empire thriving. Trade with Rome, silks, ideas flowing.
Right.
Ujjain doing serious astronomy. Nalanda buzzing with debates. We talked before about how they timed things like Diwali moons or tracked Mars's weird loops. That was the concept.
And there he is, Aryabhata. 23 years old. I mean, think about app developers today, right? He's drafting a cosmic blueprint at 23.
It's remarkable.
And his work, the Aryabhata, especially the Golapada, it wasn't myth-based. It was math. Building on those sign calculations to measure the heavens, a massive shift towards, well, a quantifiable sky.
And the practicality shines through, doesn't it? Centuries later, Bhaskara called the Golapada an essential doctor's chart for the cosmos.
Oh, I love that analogy.
It tells you it wasn't just philosophy, it was a tool for understanding, for predicting. It shows Aryabhata viewing the sky not as mystery, but as a sphere you could measure, map, understand. Like, here's the user manual.
Okay, let's dig into that vision then, the core concept. The celestial sphere, the Gola. He basically imagined this huge invisible sphere around the Earth with all the stars and planets stuck on its surface, right?
Sort of like stepping into a planetarium today, or maybe putting on a VR headset that loads up the universe.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
It's that kind of mental leap. The Golapada maps out the main parts of this sphere, giving a framework for where things are and how they move relative to us.
And key to this map are the reference lines.
Yeah.
One big one is the ecliptic. We mentioned it before with orbits. It's the path the sun seems to take across the sky all year because Earth's tilted, right?
Right. And crucially, it's also the plane where most planets orbit. So it's like this cosmic main street.
The celestial highway. And then there's the equator, just like Earth's equator, but projected out onto this imaginary sphere.
Exactly. Earth's midline stretched out into space, dividing the celestial north and south. a fundamental reference.
Now, the key thing is these lines, ecliptic, equators, they're not flat lines on a page. They're curved lines on this sphere.
And their positions, how they cross, it's all defined mathematically, angles, coordinates. Bhaskara, I compared it to a grammarian, parsing words, every angle matters.
Well, it's not just descriptive, it's predictive. Like Google Maps predicting your route. This sphere let them predict where planets would be.
Precisely. It's a model to forecast movements. That's the power of it.
Okay, but the idea of a celestial sphere itself wasn't totally new, was it? Like the Greeks. Ptolemy.
No, you're right. Spherical astronomy wasn't unique to India. Ptolemy's Almagest, centuries earlier, had a very detailed geocentric model using celestial spheres. It was hugely influential in the West.
So what made Aryabhata's take different, or maybe more advanced in some ways?
Well, a huge part of it was how he positioned Earth within that sphere and what he said Earth was doing.
Ah, right. This is maybe the most revolutionary bit. Earth's spin. He put Earth inside the sphere, but not just sitting there passively. He saw it as a spinning globe.
Which was a massive departure from the standard view. The geocentric model had a fixed Earth at the center, with everything sun, moon, stars circling it.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of work for the universe.
Exactly. Aryabhata realized if Earth itself spins on its axis, that provides a much simpler, more elegant explanation for why the sun seems to rise and set, why the stars wheel across the sky every night.
And he already knew Earth was round, not flat, which was a big deal itself back then.
Yes. He deduced the sphere shape, and from that, he reasoned that this rotation, this spin, is what causes day and night. It's not the sun flying around us.
It's us turning, bringing different parts of Earth into the sunlight. Now, we should be clear, his model for the planets was still mostly geocentric, right? Like we talked about before.
Largely, yes. The orbits of planets around Earth was still the dominant idea, but introducing Earth's spin for the daily motions, that was a game changer, a fundamental shift.
It's, like you said, rebooting the VR game. Earth becomes the active player spinning in the middle, not just the static background.
And it just makes so much more sense logically than having the entire vast universe rotate around a tiny Earth every 24 hours.
Yeah.
The mechanics of that would be, well, incredibly complex.
What I find fascinating, too, is how he tried to weave in older ideas, like Mount Meru, this mythical cosmic mountain.
Right, from traditional Indian cosmology. He didn't just toss it out.
No, he tried to fit it in, positioning it at the Earth's axis, relating it to angles in his sphere. It's this amazing mix of tradition and this new mathematical reasoning.
That blend is really characteristic. And stepping back again, while celestial spheres were known, Aryabhata's emphasis on Earth's rotation as the reason for daily motion really stands out. Ptolemy's model dominated the West for ages.
But Aryabhata and others in India were working on this different track independently.
Exactly. It shows scientific progress isn't always linear or centered in one place. Different ideas were being explored all over.
It's just incredible how these ancient, kind of abstract ideas laid the groundwork for stuff we use constantly, that gridded celestial sphere with coordinates. It's basically the ancestor of how we map space now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Modern astronomy uses sophisticated coordinate systems, but the basic principle, a spherical grid with reference points, that comes straight from models like Aryabhata's.
And not just mapping. Think about timekeeping. His ways of using shadows, a gnomon like a sundial stick.
The basic clocks of the time.
Those methods, relating the sun's movement to time, they're fundamental. And those principles indirectly feed in to the precision timing needed for things like, well, GPS.
The connection's there. Understanding solar motion accurately is step one.
And eclipses. For ages, people saw them as omens, scary stuff.
Right, supernatural events.
But Aryabhata saw them as math problems, geometry, shadows of the Earth and Moon falling on each other, predictable.
And his ability to predict when they'd happen, how big they'd be, even where you could see them from, centuries before telescopes. It's honestly staggering. Like having a NASA eclipse app in 500 CE.
Seriously. And what about the karma thing, the corrections he made?
Ah, yes. That's incredibly insightful. He realized the sky looks different depending on where you are on Earth. Your latitude affects your perspective.
So he was already accounting for the observer's position.
In a way, yes. Making corrections for that shift in appearance. It's like an early precursor to the complex calculations astronomers use today for parallax and perspective. Sort of like trying to sharpen the cosmic lens based on where you're standing.
Wow. So when you put it all together, spinning Earth, gridded skies, eclipses solved mathematically, the Golapada wasn't just theory.
Not at all. It was this practical, rigorous model.
And the echoes are everywhere today. NASA probes navigating by star coordinates.
VR star apps bringing that 3D model to life.
Even timing Diwali, like we talked about before, relies on these calculations. It's kind of cool that AI is now digging into his code, trying to understand his methods even better. Shows how timeless it is.
And thinking about the bigger picture, that shift from myth to math has huge philosophical weight, doesn't it?
Totally. It encourages this rational, predictive view of the universe. Things happen for reasons we can figure out, not just because gods are messing around.
It's a move towards a scientific worldview. Reason and observation taking precedence over just tradition.
And what does it do to your sense of self knowing Earth isn't the center stage, but this spinning ball in a huge cosmos?
Yeah, it definitely shifts perspective. We're not the absolute center. We're inhabitants of a planet moving according to natural laws. How did that feel back then? It's a question we still grapple with.
It makes you think about our place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the whole effort, trying to map the infinite, it just speaks volumes about human curiosity, that drive to understand where we are.
It's that fundamental urge to find order in the chaos, to push boundaries. It's amazing.
And you see that same drive today, right? From Aryabhata with his tools to modern space probes, it's the same quest, that mix of precision and just wonder.
Exactly. The mathematical elegance alongside the sheer awe of it all.
So, wrapping up for today, we've walked through Aryabhata's Golapāda, his cosmic blueprint.
Looked at that spinning Earth idea, the celestial sphere grid, the math of eclipses, groundbreaking stuff.
And remembered that direct line connecting those ancient insights to 2025 tech GPS, VR, NASA.
It's all linked.
Which leaves us with a final thought. The next time you look up at the night sky, just pause for a second. Knowing Aryabhata's vision, does it change how you see it, even slightly?
And what other old frameworks, maybe from totally different areas, might still hold surprising keys for us today? Worth pondering.
Definitely. And looking ahead, our next deep dive, episode 26, we're going deeper. Ecliptic angles, Earth's wobble over time, more on those cosmic grids.
Getting into the nitty-gritty, like a Gupta star chart gone 4D, for the real space nerds out there.
Exactly. So join us for that.
Until then, keep looking up, keep questioning, and remember to decode the ancient to shape the modern.